It turns out our draft is ready, and for our draft, I do at least just very quickly have some of the most played heroes for these teams. Essence Gaming, their most played heroes are Anduin, Varian, and Uther. Better Than Bots, their most played heroes are Blaze, Li Ming, and Sylvanas. So I'm just wondering if we will see any of those heroes take a part in the ban phase.
Yeah, it kind of strikes a balance between whether you want to go with the more standard meta bans, if you want to try to target ban, and of course then the map-specific bans, which here on Volskaya you see a lot of Sylvanas ban outs because people don't want to see the inflated turret with her level 4 talent to be able to upgrade the damage on that, and there it is.
Speak of the devil.
But also, I find it you see a lot more of those specific bans because players tend to not have as big a hero pool. So if you can get rid of their top heroes, a lot of times you can cripple what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I think the Sylvanas ban in particular is pretty strong, given what you've said about it kind of being a map ban. Although I think she's very strong on many maps these days, just in any way to empower the objective, especially with the recent round of tower changes, and it is a commonly played hero for Better Than Bots.
Yeah, and especially when you can stick two of your heroes safely into the robot and the protector, and then also have Sylvanas to be able to shut down the towers. That's a pretty potent combo. But Li Ming going to be banned out. Good poke on these points, especially with that new level 4 talent. The CDR reduction on the orb has become popularized, so being able to constantly chuck those orbs in can be pretty tough to deal with. And Phoenix on the other side, so range damage under fire here is Greymane, the final ban out for this first phase.
Yeah, for Essence Gaming, it definitely actually looks like they went for the target banning route, since both Sylvanas and Li Ming are two of the most commonly played heroes for Better Than Bots. Not quite so much for Better Than Bots. Essence Gaming has shown the Greymane as well as the Phoenix, but it's not their most commonly played heroes.
Yeah, good camp clear on the Greymane as well. Allows you to be able to rotate a little bit quicker and have that macro. And Johanna, a pretty consistent early pick, but probably the most popular tank overall in NGS for quite a few seasons in a row. And the control that she gives on these points, being able to hold it as long as she does, can really give you that edge when you're trying to secure the protector.
Ooh, but I feel like the starting picks out of Better Than Bots are quite a bit more exciting. That Johanna is almost a pick where it's like, there's almost not even that much to say about it at this point, where it's like, okay, Johanna was picked up, what else is new? But the Deathwing and the Variant, that's a little bit more spicy. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, pressure and control on the front line here, nice and early. Doesn't really show a whole lot either. You kind of want to see what the healer and the damage is, so you can kind of pick your picks accordingly. So not a whole lot of information given here early.
I think it's also very interesting in the sense that we've seen different uses of Deathwing, where sometimes Deathwing is played as a solo laner. That was the original role of Deathwing. But then there are also a lot of times when you see Deathwing in the 4-man, almost like as a mage, kind of.
Yeah, and his global ability can help too, to be able to kind of switch that up. And right now, there's not really a clear definition on which direction they're going to go for. Because that could be a 4-man. They could pick another tank, and Varian could be the off lane, but Varian could also just be the tank. And we could see 3 other picks here, other than the tank and off lane.
Yeah, I mean, the Variant pick does also give you a lot of flexibility too, with obviously the different choices you have on his heroic. All right, our final ban's going to come out. Oh wow, 6 of 6 bans used on damage heroes. So all of our damage players,
heroes, really.
Yeah, all of our damage players going to be a little bit short on options. I think Better Than Bots should pick up at least one now, before there's almost nothing left. Before we got to start pulling out. I don't know who's like the least meta range damage hero.
Nova picking.
Nova, yes. So we got to pick up something before we start seeing some Nova picks. The Zul'jin.
There's Zul'jin. Yeah, still digging deep down that rabbit hole there for the bad guy, but gonna get some axes thrown in here. But I really like the Deckard pick for the side of Better Than Bots. That is again very meta to the map. If Deckard can get there early, he can set up some of those potions on the point and get a little bit of a head start on the healing game.
I also think this is a map that fairly regularly this map does go to 20, and I do think Deckard's 20s can be very powerful, particularly the Endless Flask, if I even have the name of that correctly. We're going to have the double mage. There's so few damage dealers. Even though Raynor is still up, we're going to go with the double mage.
Yeah, you really can't ban out enough ranged heroes to be able to really lock out all the options, but Jaina Kael'thas, that's a lot of burst damage. With a decent amount of lockdown between the Johanna and the Anduin, they can provide the CC to be able to blow somebody up. Raynor going to be the response here, but can Deckard heal through all of this spell damage?
The double mage versus the double auto attack damage dealers. Although, I mean, Zul'jin actually does have quite a bit of spell damage, but still, I almost feel like neither of these teams got exactly what they want in terms of damage dealers, but it was just actually a matter of what was left.
Yeah, it's going to be a matter of execution here, because if Essence Gaming can get the lockdown and the kills early in these team fights and these control points, they can be able to secure that point and get the objective. But if the fight goes at any kind of length, really, the sustained damage and healing over on the side of Better Than Bots gives them a huge edge here.
And of course, kind of the traditional reason why, if you ever ended up with a double mage comp in like ranked or something, and you had people like flaming you saying like GG double mage, a lot of the reasoning behind that is that it's very gated around those cooldowns, and if both Kael'thas and Jaina use up all their cooldowns and they don't actually secure the kill, then they're not really getting much done for about like the next probably at least 5 to like 10 seconds.
Yeah, and that's in rando play, but when you are playing on a team and you can coordinate those cooldowns to coincide with the CC of your teammates, you can a lot of times secure kills that auto attack heroes might not otherwise be able to secure. And in maps, you can get AoE multiple kills.
So I think it's really going to be kind of the burden of execution on Essence Gaming to see if they can indeed pull off that coordination. But for now, let's, of course, just get into our game as I get started on I will introduce our blue team. It's going to be Essence Gaming. Potentially the underdogs in this series will be Tin on the Kael'thas, Tricor on the Jaina. Ailish will be playing as, I believe that's the Johanna. Apocalypse will be playing as the Malthael. And Adrian will be on the Anduin. Meanwhile, our red team, take it away, Jason.
Yeah, on the right, we have Better Than Bots. We've got Crafty Trent on the Zul'jin, Grizzly Pear on the Varian, Magan 420 going to be on the Deathwing. We've got Eva Lato on the Raynor, and 5 Aces playing the Deckard Cain.
That was an interesting interpretation of that name. I would have said Megan, like the girl's name.
I know. I figured I'd go with Magan from... what was that show from? Supergirl. I don't know why I just made a Supergirl reference, but we'll go for it.
Not too familiar with that one, but we do see our teams starting off with this mid-fight. Malthael, though, already deciding to just break off to the lane, deciding he just wants to get started on getting that soak.
Yeah, meanwhile, we do see the Deathwing down bot, so that's going to be the solo lane matchup. But the rotational game should be able to favor Essence Gaming here early. They've got massive wave clear.
Yeah, clear advantage in wave clear.
Right. So if they could just manage to keep the rotational game going cleanly, they should be able to dominate the early game here.
It's one of the rare cases where they actually have more wave clear on just about every single hero, except for maybe the healers. I'm not sure how much I would measure the Deckard wave clear versus the Anduin, but otherwise, the Kael'thas, the Jaina, the Johanna, I'm not even sure if you need all of their cooldowns to clear a wave.
Yeah, typically we're not going to look directly at the supports for who's going to win the wave clear anyway, but I guess we'll just have to see where exactly this leads. As early rotation for Better Than Bots already kind of dominating that macro game as they grab their camps early. Raynor now moving his way up to the top camp.
Yeah, of course, with that Exterminator, he took the turret camp all by himself, now moving on to the siege camp all by himself. Essence Gaming quite a bit far behind in that regard.
Yeah, meanwhile, up top, we do see Crafty Tenant trying to put it into Ailish, but just not going to get a whole lot of damage. Going in deep just for that globe. Look out!
I mean, he might still go down here, actually. Okay, I think if Condemn was up, I think that could have potentially been a kill, but Crafty Trent, I don't know, maybe just knows what he's doing. He's quite crafty, this Trent.
So far, so good. Keeping it about half health. That's about what you want on a Zul'jin anyway.
And of course, I suppose we'll just be keeping an eye on his stacks at about... It's hard to measure those Zul'jin stacks. I'm guessing that basically means 6 basic attack damage, although of course he's actually gotten quite a few more auto attacks than that.
So looking at these builds early, pretty standard. 10 globes so far for Kael'thas, or 7 for Kael'thas, 10 for Jaina. So the mages not quite rotating together, but both needing those globes early here. We'll see how long it takes them to get the 20 completed for each.
That actually sounds like pretty good progress to me, particularly on the Kael'thas.
Yeah, not bad for the first objective. They can also continue to soak from this mid lane to get early point control here for the side of Essence Gaming. But right now, Zul'jin getting some value top out of this exchange.
Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't look like Better Than Bots will be committing to a fight at the moment, given that Zul'jin is still trying to get some value top, get some more soak, possibly see if he can let that wave crash into the wall, and get level 7 for his team before they really try to get their decisive engage on the beacon.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to probably let them get nearly the full charge before they decide to engage. Meanwhile, Raynor being collapsed on down here, but we will see Megan rolling down to the bot lane, trying to find the kill on Apocalypse. Nice dodge.
Can they find it?
Oh, it's close. Nope, he's going to get away.
It was so close with the Deathwing attempted to see if he can get the stun, but there was that dodge from Apocalypse. Meanwhile, I think if it had been like Johanna who had actually rotated down there and they actually got a stun. But you know what? Let's actually take a look at Tin in the middle. Tin will get blown up by the engage from the Avarian Grizzly pair on that hero.
Yeah, now they'll be able to look to try to control the point here. They've got a ton of health still on this Deathwing. Crafty having to back up, but is getting a nice amount of damage from that low health. Grizzly pair getting very low. The poison going to take him out as he tries to retreat back, but Ailish going in pretty deep there, but does kind of exit stage bottom there. Now we see Crafty getting real low. He's going to go a little too far. Raynor going to fall as well. At the end of the day, Essence Gaming is going to come out with the win here and probably end up securing this first objective.
Yeah, that was a bloody fight and one that really didn't go the way that I expected. Essence Gaming stayed in there, even considering it was basically a 4v5, and yet somehow we just had the members of Better Than Bots. They just stuck around in there when their health was already so low, and eventually they got picked off.
So first, Triglav Protector going over to Essence Gaming. They're going to push here in the mid a little bit. You tend to see teams go towards the top, trying to get the well up there, but they are committing all the way in here for the mid. Grizzly pair getting very low, having to back up. He'll tap to try and get some health back, but the Punisher taking tons of damage. It's down already here.
Yeah, unfortunately, I feel that was a little bit of a misplay there. Like, I don't mind that they were trying to get the towers in the mid lane, but I thought it was going to be like, try to get the towers, maybe even just one, and then rotate top to start opening up the top lane for the next objective. And I think particularly when the Triglav Protector actually dove in, that was where I think the value was really lost, because you really want to get that focus on that top lane.
Camp going to be picked up here for the side of Essence Gaming. Grizzly pair already having that turret down there in the bot lane. And the interesting 2v1 in the bot, we are going to see Varian now rotating up, trying to pressure Apocalypse out here a little bit in the bot.
Yeah, there's a lot of macro pressure being put on by Better Than Bots. I think a lot of that does have to do with that Exterminator Raynor, allowing Evil Alto to actually kind of just take a lot of camps all by himself.
And now we're going to see the attempt on the Biotic Emitter camp here, and does look like this is going to be scouted out in time, but no, actually
just
not
barely
in time.
Oh, but he didn't pick it up, so instead we're going to see the Ring of Frost committed, and they're going to get the kills. Okay.
Yeah, the emitter actually gets picked up and dropped by Essence Gaming, but worked out well for them. Kept them nice and healthy, and that's going to be the full 5-man team wipe. That double mage coming in handy there with the big damage there. Particularly from Jaina, who scores the triple kill.
Double Mage actually worked out quite well there. Their health bars just exploded, all like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, confined spaces, not exactly what you want to see against a double mage comp.
I was actually surprised. I didn't think that invade was going to be in time. I thought they were just going to be able to pick it up and then move on out of there. But then I felt they were a little too slow to actually pick it up. And then they stayed in there practically just 1 second too long.
Yeah, they just needed to back up. You're totally right about that. As soon as they pick it up, if you're Varian in that situation and you do manage to pick it up but not be able to get out, you can just drop it. You're only given the 1 kill at that point, and you're not giving over the camp. But either way, we do see the battle raging on here in the top as we continue. The root comes out, and they're even going to burn the light bomb to secure the kill on Raynor. The Condemn pulls him in, and that's going to be a double kill for Essence Gaming.
My God. I mean, kind of built this up as Better Than Bots really being the... I mean, statistically, Better Than Bots is the lead team in the division, but Essence Gaming clearly starting off strong here, and with their double mage composition.
Yeah, they are getting the job done right now here early. It's still the first half. Plenty of time for Better Than Bots to still, pull this game out here in the second half. But right now, we do see Malthael and Deathwing down bot, so we'll have to see if Deathwing decides to rotate up. Can get that rotational advantage for the point. But right now, it looks like Better Than Bots are just trying to soak for 13 before trying to make any kind of play on control point B. And
Megan or Magan certainly losing a lot of health to that Malthael, especially if he's just fighting directly into it. It's kind of a tough ask to go straight up against the Malthael. Percentage will be gained on the beacon by Essence Gaming, but we do have the invade on the turret camp for Better Than Bots, so potentially could be an item advantage for them going into this objective.
Yeah, again, good macro play, kind of keeping them in this one. And in my defense, I didn't put the A in there. You know, that could be Magan. I don't know.
All right, Deathwing will land, and I think this is the attempt at the engagement.
Yeah, turrets will come on down. We do see Deathwing flying to the backside there. Big sleep coming in from 5 aces, though, as they try to lock him down. Varian going to be the first to fall. Unkillable popped here for Zul'jin as he's trying to stay alive as he kind of dances in and out. But now he's got the living bomb, having to run the wrong way on the track just to try and keep himself up. Apocalypse gets on him, though. Last Right's going to trade him out there. But on the backside, we see Anduin going down as well. So it's a 2-for-4 exchange. And this time it's Better Than Bots getting the advantage.
Yeah, and of course, as strong of it was a strong start from Essence Gaming, and game could still go in their favor. But we've still got 6 structures up for both teams. Right now, it's still even talent here, and I've definitely cast and watched a few games lately where one team started off strong for like 15, even 20 minutes, and it ended up not even going in their favor, just because obviously later on in the game things tend to be a little bit more impactful.
Yeah, they are still winning the level battle right now for the side of Essence Gaming. They should have 16 in time to be able to come up and contest this with all their heroes alive. So we'll see if they're able to leverage that talent advantage to be able to get themselves a second objective. But they are going to have to get in here quickly. They are starting to run out of time.
Yeah, they will have enough time for Ailish to make it on to... although not going on it yet. All right, just barely. Still about 8% to spare. They haven't put anyone on it yet. They need to put feet on that, and they don't do it.
Yeah, we do see the light bomb coming out. Big damage, but Grizzly Pear gets into the Protector just in time to kind of save himself there. It is going to charge in, and now they're facing the both members in the Protector along with the 3-man. It looks like they're going to send Raynor out to side soak, and the Protector actually not going to walk into all of that mage damage. Instead, going to rotate down to mid.
And to Essence Gaming's credit, since that Protector was ultimately picked up in a situation where it was like in the middle of a team fight, this Protector is not going to get a whole lot done. Like, it was burned down to roughly half of its hit points before it even really made it to the wall. Now it's trying to get down to the bottom, trying to open up the bottom for the next Protector, but it's just about to expire.
Yeah, that is going to be Protector number 2, not getting a whole lot of value either, but we are going to see Deathwing getting taken out here. Yet another kill from Last Right, so we'll stack it up to 3 right now.
Yeah, Megan is actually... It seems like Megan is struggling a little bit on that Deathwing. Both uses of Cataclysms were actually Cataclysm used to get away rather than to engage. And obviously just fighting into that Malthael has been kind of rough.
Meanwhile, in the top lane, Zul'jin just wailing away at the top fort. Now going to try to get on that rocket and get out, but I think it might be too little too late. The slows are going to come in from Jaina. We are going to see the gravity lapse coming in, and Unkillable going to be popped, but I still think it's going to be a little bit too late.
Yeah.
Light Bomb maybe not needed there, but they will secure the kill either way.
Only that Taz Dingo definitely only delaying the inevitable. So, I mean, right now it's still looking very strong for Essence Gaming. It does look like there's kind of a macro focus for Better Than Bots. But, I mean, at some point, if they continue to lose the team fights, of course, since they do have the Zul'jin, they're probably just banking on trying to win out in the late game. Zul'jin currently at 27 extra attack power.
You know what's funny is this match actually kind of reminds me of the game of the week this week. We saw a similar kind of match where one team had a really, really firm control on the kill count, but the macro play coming in from amateur opponents on the other side was so good that even though they decisively lost the kill count, they were able to win the map hard enough that they just ended up winning game one anyway. So I don't know. We might be seeing a similar thing here in what might be the runner-up for the game of the week here for C-West.
Oh, but let's take a look at this rotation onto Malthael. Stun and taunt will be there. I don't think he gets out of this alive.
No, and once again, just people being caught out in rotations here, just being a little bit too far out. But this was this time a heads-up play by Better Than Bots.
And they
going to allow them to secure this bottom fort as well as they push into it. But now it's Essence Gaming that's kind of getting the best of a bad situation as they even it out in the mid lane.
Yeah, so they were able to convert that kill into like actual structure progress, but ultimately just trade it out, and we see another rotation by Essence Gaming. Was wondering if they were going to see if they could get progress on the top fort as well, but I guess they also anticipate or spot out that rotation and think better of it.
And not really much to do for Essence Gaming right now. This is one of those moments that you kind of hate on the map where there's it's such a long point, such a long amount of time between these control points that it's kind of difficult to stay patient and not get caught out sometimes in these rotations. Evilado going to actually go in and finish off that top fort, get those periodic catapults spawning in the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, crazy thing is, in spite of all those team fight wins, those kills by Essence Gaming, they're not particularly ahead. I mean, they're like, I don't know, now like a 10th ahead in experience. They actually have fewer structures, so the macro game from Better Than Bots has been stronger. So it's pretty even and very much an anyone's game kind of situation. But Malthael's getting chased down by Crafty Trent, but now there's a rotation onto Crafty Trent, it looks like.
Yeah, look out. Once again, trying to hop on that rocket and get out, and he will juke to the top, gets hit by the Living Bomb and the Flame Strike as he's trying to charge. Can we get the slow? Yeah, the Q gets in there, but now he's behind the fort. I don't know that that's necessarily going to save him, however, as they do charge in past it. They'll get the kill, but at the cost of one of those heroics. Meanwhile, again, camp stolen in the bot, and the macro play still good from Better Than Bots. They can back up once this comes down because the charge isn't there. Could be close on the Malthael or the Zul'jin death time.
Yeah, I think the Zul'jin death timer is probably just the biggest thing they have going in their favor at the moment. They should basically be able to occupy the bottom beacon for free, barring any heroics from Better Than Bots. And I'm not sure if Zul'jin will be able to get back in here in time. If he would, it would be close.
Yeah, the one of the big things there is Essence Gaming didn't really make a beeline to get down here, so the timer still not ticking. It's still under contested status. Meanwhile, they're going to get right onto Jaina here. They've got a lot of damage from coming in from Varian as he's going to get the kill. We do see multiple members getting low as Raynor is going to fall, and they're kind of turning it back now on the side of Better Than Bots.
Well, it was kind of crazy. I mean, it was 4v5, and when I saw Deathwing wind up to go in, I was kind of thinking, are they really about to engage 4v5? And they did. And the setup initially with the Bellowing Roar, which actually hit like 3 and put Jaina in a really bad position, it actually did look pretty good, but at the end of the day, it was still a 4v5, so despite the 1 kill they got, it didn't end up working out in their favor.
Yeah, they had time for Zul'jin to get up as well. They had that under contested status long enough that they could have had a 5v5. So maybe a little bit of a misplay there from Better Than Bots, but either way, it's going to result in the second protector of the game for Essence Gaming. we'll see if they can get more out of it than the first two did.
So I like that they're trying to just put whatever progress they can onto the bottom fort as they can to clear the way for the Protector. Apocalypse in the top lane, also trying to put just more macro pressure on by picking up the siege camp. But at this point, I kind of would like to see him rotate to join his team, and it does seem like that will indeed be the plan.
Yep, he looks like he is on the way down here. They are running that Protector into Zul'jin, though, so he's getting a lot of damage out on it before Malthael. And Malthael actually electing to stop in the mid lane on that rotation.
So, unfortunately, it looks like much of this Protector will be burned down before there is the rotation from Apocalypse. But in the meantime, we're going to see yet another kill happen onto Jaina. And now at this point, Better Than Bots, or rather, Essence Gaming, really needs to be concerned about making sure they make a clean disengage so that this doesn't spiral out of their favor against them. And it does also look like we do have someone disconnecting.
Yeah, Anduin disconnecting here as we see the pausing. Kind of the pause hokey pokey going on there for a minute, but we do finally get it stopped. And Deathwing is paused in a pretty great position there. That's
let's take a look at that. That's
pretty awesome looking.
maybe that's what he was going for. Why he had to unpause it. Needed a more cinematic shot on that Deathwing.
There we go.
So I mean, obviously, right now. Oh, but as I'm looking at this, we've got the screen paused. Unfortunately, we also see that it is... I can't actually see the player's name, but Johanna Ailish is in a pretty bad position, is actually right in the middle of getting taunted, and everyone else from Better Than Bots is basically surrounding around her. So, unfortunately, that Triglav Protector doesn't seem like it achieved quite enough, and it's going to be, once this game is unpaused, Better Than Bots will be in a very, very strong position.
Yeah, and both teams have pretty good anti-siege damage, so we've seen the Protectors just kind of get annihilated. Also, the Protectors not giving a whole lot of control in terms of what you might see from a normal tank perspective. So Jaina just getting basically no protection during that and taken down before they got started. And where you might like to see a direct route to keep to pressure here, we're actually going to see Better Than Bots going after just one of the camps.
Oh, but Crafty Trent, all right, he will activate the Tazdingo. It does mean it's kind of baited out, but just to make sure he lives. Unfortunately, I don't think Pyroblast definitely does not secure the kill here. So kind of just ult cooldowns traded.
Oh, no. Look out. The taunt comes in on a Kael'thas. Big damage from Crafty. Going to get that in, and now they're going to be able to secure that mid fort. But more importantly, massive staggered death there on the Kael'thas.
Oh, but there comes the Ring of Frost in return. I think they can secure a kill on Grizzly Pear as well. Oh, but Apocalypse gets killed first, and Grizzly Pear is actually just fine. So I think this might be one of these moments where, the experience factor of maybe Better Than Bots being a more experienced team is kind of lending themselves to maybe handling some of these late-game situations better, or is it? They're letting themselves get pulled into another fight. I don't know if Grizzly Pear makes it out of this one.
Yeah, this is basically turning into a brawl in the mid lane here. Last Rites comes down, but Grizzly Pear just barely stays up. Gets that last-second potion there from 5 Aces, and is able to stay alive for the moment. And both teams going to walk away with only the one extra staggered death out of that whole mess. And we will eventually see all 5 coming back into play here. Maybe we'll see a fight over the support camp.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see both teams letting themselves get pulled into more rather unnecessary fights, particularly when it was Tin who got taunted right under the fort. Because even though they're next to the fort, and even though those fort changes have made them slightly more protective, you still have a full health Varian who can activate Protected by the way to make sure that he stays alive long enough while the rest of his team damages down to get a kill on the Kael'thas. But now they're all 5 back up. All heroics are back up, and we actually don't have the endless flash that I thought we might have. Instead, we're going to see the Respect the Elderly from Deckard, which definitely does have a lot of playmaking potential.
Yeah, I myself thought Tritcher was crazy going in with that Random Ring of Frost, just the naked Ring of Frost that managed to get 2.
He's actually been throwing out a lot of those and hitting with them.
Yeah, you know, they're pretty hit or miss when they're done like that, but here we go, the charge in, they're going to find him on the camp. We're even going to see Deathwing falling down right on this point. It'll be kind of tough to get them off of that as the fear comes in, but meanwhile, camp is taken, but Deathwing ends up falling on the backside, and they turn that around. Essence Gaming, I think they might have lost the camp, but they definitely got the 3 kills out of it.
I'm wondering. Oh, I thought for a second Anduin had disconnected again, but actually just rejoined. What I really like about that, and I was a little bit questionable on it, like at the start, was the positioning of Ailish in that bush, basically letting the members of Better Than Bots invade, but then trying to get in on the backline and focus the Blessed Shield on the backline, so that even though Varian went in for the taunt, there wasn't really much follow up on his taunt.
Yeah, well, the way Ailish rotated into that bush. With the there is a little bit of structure right there below that vent. May not have actually seen the members rotating in until the vision was granted from the people that were on the point. But we would have to go back and really look at that to be sure. But intentional or not, it definitely worked out for him.
And so we're absolutely going to see another Triglav Protector picked up. I guess the question now is just, will we finally see one really get a lot of value? At least this time, it looks like they will be able to push as 5, but there's also just so much damage now in the late game with a fully stacked Zul'jin, not to mention the Rainer in addition to that.
Deathwing puts decent damage into it as well, and you could say the same about the mages on the other side, and Malthael that does big time percentage damage. So neither team likely to get much out of these protectors, and already you see it just getting poked down. They're really just not able to go in on it.
And especially if they have Johanna inside it, they don't have a huge amount of engage potential outside of the protector. So they're really just trying to count on whatever siege damage they can get from a distance. They didn't even completely finish off the front wall in the middle lane, and this protector's pretty much gone.
It's gone. There's nothing out of that. And I don't know what the remedy is to that, Maybe you just pick up the protector and then you don't get into it. I don't know. You just leave it in the mid lane. I don't really have an answer.
One alternative idea that I have, when this map was first released and the protector wasn't as good as it is now, back then I almost entertained the idea, is it better to have only one person in the protector? Maybe in this case, maybe a damage dealer, so that Ailish can stay out, actually try to help find and engage. But talk about engages. Another Ring of Frost is going to go out. Apocalypse is really low and is taunted. There's the Bellowing Roar as well.
Yeah, they get a pretty quick kill on Malthael. He will return, but meanwhile, still on the chase is Crafty. He's going to get Gravity Lapse, though. Condemned to follow it up, but the Unkillable is going to get popped here. Taz Dingo gets him out of dodge there. Meanwhile, Pyroblast's going to be shut down by Grizzly Bear's block, but Last Rites then gets him right after, as he didn't have the second Protect available. He only gets the one.
Unfortunately, it's not like that old variant where you just had, charge after charge of Protected by the Way. Those were the old days. Today, you can't block both a Pyroblast and a Last Rites unless they're at exactly the same time.
Yeah, I prefer it this way, I think.
Yeah, probably is more balanced, but...
Of course, then again, I'm a damage-dealing main, so call me biased.
But the Protected by the Way was certainly better for the memes.
Definitely good for the WTF videos, that's for sure.
Even now, it seems like with one hero death, they're trying to see what value they can get, but they still end up just having to back out, not wanting to deal with taking all that additional damage, given that we actually have a Molten Breath build from 13 and 16 on the Deathwing. They just lost their own keep.
The top keep goes down, and so easy for this comp to be able to clear lanes as well. They just kind of got a little bit too caught up trying to get some value out of that kill in the mid lane, but again, they're just it's kind of like walking into a buzzsaw at this point from what we've seen throughout this game.
Blast Shield is committed. And that will be a double Ring of Frost. Oh no, but in response, there's so much damage. They haven't gotten a kill yet.
Yeah,
what's
Too
happening?
much protected status, too much damage block, and now they're going to have to back up here, and now it's going to be the opportunity for Better Than Bots to try and get some value. They get this bottom keep, which was already chipped down.
Tin needs to get out of here.
Yeah, Tin going to get taunted, but is going to have another opportunity to try to run away here.
Yeah, I mean, they got to be super careful, even considering, like, if they tap, but they only have half of their actual health and they're waiting for the rest of it to be restored, they can't just stand around and let themselves get taunted by Grizzly Pear, because the follow-up from the rest of his team is actually enough to threaten a kill.
And just 3 left to try to defend the core here. We do have the control point up in the top lane, but nobody really paying any attention to that as Tin getting poked down.
Tin.
This time he falls.
Will be traded out for Grizzly Pear, but look at all the damage already going on to the core. How did they even win this game?
They played the macro. They played the map incredibly well. This is not a particularly big team fighting map. It's more about how you play the macro with the items and the camps. And they just stayed in it, cleared waves, pushed in waves, and Essence Gaming didn't really do a whole lot of that. They lost 2 keeps. Basically 2 keeps off of just not clearing the lanes quick enough.
Yeah, I mean, that was so crazy given that they were winning most of the team fights, obviously. 24 kills to 16. It's not often that even when you win a game that you get 24 kills. And it felt like, despite all the kills that they got, that their own structures were just slowly falling down.
And they're on such a low cooldown, you see teams constantly rotating to get them. So I definitely think we'll see a lot of that out of Better Than Bots. It's very, very in line with the character of how they played in Game 1. And we'll see how Essence Gaming can respond to that.
And so as we get into our next draft, we have some people in chat trying to predict some things. Some people thinking we might have different bans. Someone saying the Phoenix ban is guaranteed, and that's by Gerger, who I believe is actually a member of Essence Gaming, although obviously not one of the members playing right now, but I'm sure just cheering on his team. However, that will not be a different ban. That will be ban on Sylvanas yet again against Better Than Bots.
Yeah, once again, good camp taker in Sylv. And if she can aid in the push of any of these camps or the map objective, puts a lot on it. And there it is, the instant Phoenix ban.
Yeah, and it was Gerger who said that, who is a member of Essence Gaming. I guess that is just something that is a targeted ban against Essence Gaming, something that they like to do. I mean, especially if they run something like a Jaina alongside of that, they get the slows with that. Purification Salvo can get a lot of value, or sometimes there's even the possibility that if you land a Ring of Frost, you can combine that with a Planet Cracker. Meanwhile, the Greymane, I'm pretty sure that's the exact same bans as last game.
Yeah, again, targeting the range damage dealers, it didn't really stop both teams from still having 2. But even if you just take people off of their priority range damage dealers, you can make them a little bit less comfortable in terms of trying to apply that range damage.
Although when I think about it, I think one range damage dealer who both did not get banned and did not get picked was Hanzo. So that was actually someone who was still up. And if anything, looking back on it, I'm surprised that wasn't someone who was picked up. Unless I'm making a mistake and he was banned, but I'm pretty sure he wasn't. However, we are going to have a break off from our range damage dealer ban, and it will be the ban on the Anduin, and that is a prioritized pick for Essence Gaming. Was obviously picked last game as well. They've got a very high win rate on that hero, too.
Yeah, not wanting to see any more of those light bombs this time around.
Yes.
So take that out. And this time the Deathwing going to be stolen away as Essence Gaming grabs a quick pick for a first pick Deathwing.
Actually, was it the Li Ming who was banned out last game? No, last game it was, I think it was the Sylvanas Li Ming, and I think Greymane was probably banned in a later ban phase, because now the Li Ming is actually taken by Better Than Bots, which is one of the most commonly played heroes. Meanwhile, speaking of other damage dealers who kind of forgot about last time, it's Lunara. What do you think about Lunara?
Really good poke damage. That poison spread can be really difficult to deal with, and it kind of forces the opposing healer onto a certain type of healer, somebody that can spread heal. And we'll see if Lily's up to the task. Lily typically only gives one heal at a time, but then once you get to level 10, with cups, you can get a little bit more of that spread healing.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely a little bit concerned about these picks. The Lily is something that, a friend of mine who goes by Nyquil, I don't know if you know him, but he's also someone who hasn't switched over to NGS yet, but he has said about Lily. Lily is a sustained healer who is not very good at sustained healing.
Yeah.
Certainly.
I used to have a healing buddy who used to call her the dumb healer, just because her heals are basically equivalent to smart heals. It heals whoever the lowest person is that's in range.
And yet,
but
I feel they're
it's
not
really,
so
really
smart.
easy to use. Yeah, but it doesn't allow you to target, which is the big thing. That's why, yeah. But either way, it's rough to deal with.
Sometimes the lowest target hero, the lowest health hero, is not the right target, depending on their positioning.
Right.
And aside from that, a big problem with Lily is also just that her early game healing is so bad that, I mean, if you can actually make it to 20, then her healing is actually quite good, but you need to make it to 20, and there's a lot of game to be played in between.
Yeah, one thing I want to point out is that even with Lily being picked by Essence Gaming, Better Than Bots still used their third ban for Uther. So I think they were trying to sniff out a double support comp, and if they did do that, if that was the plan for Essence Gaming, I don't know if there's another healer that you could pick that would fit in this better than Uther. They end up going Alarak, Kel'Thas, so I guess we'll never know. But Uther is somebody that we've seen a lot in these double support comps, with him acting as sort of a pseudo tank up front.
Yeah, you know what? I think that Uther ban was really, really good, because I do a quick look through Essence Gaming's history. Uther is one of their most picked heroes, and for every single one of them, it was a main tank Uther in a double healer composition. So that probably was the plan. Or even if it wasn't, I think it's still a very good ban.
Yeah, because, Lily's solo healing is kind of rough. It would make sense for them to play it in a double support comp, though, as she provides a decent amount of damage and the blinds to counter the Lunara. But either way, Blaze is going to be the last pickup here, and I guess we'll see how it goes. The Alarak pull-in can be pretty decent in combination with the Kel'Thas stun and the Muradin CC as well. So if they could find those picks like they were finding last game, they might still have a shot at this. But overall, I'd say I do like the comp from Better Than Bots a little more.
Muradin is something that, as I cast, I routinely kind of downplay Muradin. I don't feel that he's really in a great spot as far as just the tank meta goes. And meanwhile, the Blaze was picked up on the other side. That's actually their most played hero, Better Than Bots, and they play it both in the solo lane as well as a main tank. So they've got a lot of flexibility in that regard.
Yeah, a lot of control right now for Better Than Bots with Johanna and Blaze on the front line. That gives their damage dealers a lot of room to operate here.
They got a lot of their comfort picks as well. They got the Deckard pick again, which was something I liked a lot from last game as well. But meanwhile, let's get started with game number 2 on Alterac Pass. Let's take a look at Essence Gaming. It's going to be Apocalypse on the Muradin. Tin will be playing as the Alarak. Ailish will be on the Lily. Adrian on the Kel'Thas. And finally, it's going to be Tricor on the Deathwing. Take it away for our red team.
And for Better Than Bots, we've got Evalato on the Lunara. Crafty Trent going to be playing Blaze. Grizzly Pair on the Johanna. 5 Aces playing Deckard Cain. And we've got, just in case I want to get it right at least once, Megan 420 on the Li Ming. Either way, I got it right once.
So it seems like quite a lot of role swapping from both of these teams as well, where I believe Megan was the Deathwing last game. On the side of Essence Gaming, Ailish is now a healer. Tin is playing a different hero, even though he was Kel'Thas last game.
Yeah, flexible teams.
And we've got a few stacking quests. I'd say the one that in particular strikes me as the most curious, although I wonder if it was even picked up last game, is the Scroll of Sealing stacking quest for Deckard. Although as I'm looking at it, it seems like it was changed quite a bit over time. Stacking requirements have been lowered quite a bit. Something that I do actually think is strong if you can finish it out, because the reward is quite strong, being able to reduce the armor whenever you land that. In the past, it's just been a matter of actually getting all those stacks, especially when it used to require 20 stacks.
Meanwhile, for Megan, that might be a role swap, but also Deathwing, kind of functioning almost like how a mage does in a lot of ways. So who knows? Maybe that's what they were planning all along.
Yeah, I think that's particularly why, especially when you see more of the mage style, I think that's when you see the Molten Breath talents at 13 and 16, whereas previously, I think, when he was played more primarily solo lane, you saw different talents in those slots.
Yeah, we need more heroes like that, where you can take the different talents and it kind of changes up the role that you can play in a way. Varian, kind of the only multi-classer we have in the game.
Progenitor of that.
But you could do kind of a pseudo multi-class if the talents can kind of dictate what build, based on what build you go, what role you can do.
So it looks like we're going to have siege camps picked up by both teams. A little bit faster by Better Than Bots, but they'll be pushing down those lanes. Didn't choose to pick it up really, really early, so they won't have it in time, again, for like right around as the objective starts.
Yeah, and then, especially back in the day when this first came out, and people really, really valued the prison camps a lot more than they do now, where a lot of people have realized that the first objectives don't really do that much. So a lot of times they prioritize just getting the camp as soon as possible, so they definitely have time to do it a second time. But these were both taken fairly late. I don't know. They might still wait it out, but meanwhile, big damage coming in for Megan as they get Apocalypse knocked down quite a bit. As both teams now starting to head towards that level 7. We'll see if they want to wait it out, see if they can get that talent tier before the objective priorities come in.
They're definitely going to have to back off a little bit. We've got quite a few people low on health, and especially mana, so won't see them go into this objective too soon. Meanwhile, we're still going to have Blaze as well as Alarak laning in top. What is Crafty Trent looking for? Oh, Tin knows that he's there. That was funny.
Worth checking. Yeah, and not a single side laner has left. Actually, nobody's left any of these lanes. Like, a couple people go back to get mana, but map objective being completely ignored here.
Yeah.
Everybody just staying in for level 7.
I was going to say, it's pretty much a straight 1-3-1, even during the objective. You know, on the side of Better Than Bots, I think part of their intention there is trying to get as many stacks for Deckard as they can, since he is halfway there. Oh, but Alarak actually taken out in the top lane. I missed that one. A little surprised as well.
Yeah, Crafty maybe taking advantage of a secondary pull there from the bush, and kind of assuming that first blood here, just from a little bit of outplays there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty strange one, because normally Blaze is someone who, he kind of fell off, like about a year ago. I think Blaze was still very common, especially like 2 years ago, but I think a combination of the XP Globe changes as well as just changes to other solo laners really made him a lot rarer than he used to be. And I think one of the issues with Blaze is that I don't think he actually duels very well. Like, if you're soloing someone in a lane, he doesn't really do a good job of putting on a lot of damage pressure to your opponent. So it's really surprising there that Crafty Trent, crafty as he is, was able to actually get a kill on Alarak. Again, it must have been like either some misplays or just some very crafty solo outplays. I don't know. And as
Either way, it's a pretty big issue for specifically Alarak to lose those sadism stacks so early here.
All right, then we're basically it's all random, all top right now. There's an objective here which is being pretty much completely ignored.
Yeah, everybody like just racing to 10 right now. Nobody paying any attention. In fact, Li Ming now just solo in the bot lane. But Deathwing will fly down though to even it out.
5 aces, not managing to get a stack, though, there, which, I feel that's part of the intention. So now, Essence Gaming actually going to channel the objective. So finally it happens, but Better Than Bots is on the verge of getting to level 10.
Meanwhile, a lot of damage coming out onto Crafty, but he will make it out. Now charging back in, big stun setup. Gonna get some extra roots there, and it's gonna be Lily going down first as Better Than Bots gets their level 10s. Now they're trying to chase down Apocalypse. Will he be able to make it out? He is able to jump, but the poison gonna be enough to take him out here and secure a second kill for Better Than Bots.
Meanwhile, Tricor Cataclysm's in. I think at this point they need to be getting out of here. And
yeah, definitely.
One of the things that someone in the chat pointed out that I hadn't considered was that the Lunara able to put a lot of good pressure on the Deathwing. So I kind of forgot about that. Oh, Evil Alto was pulled in!
10! Able to pull him back into the Flame Strike. Beautiful play there.
Oh, Tin. More kills for Tin, trying to rack up that sadism again. So I guess we're seeing what he can do on this hero.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the front line, not including Alarak, the Deathwing and the Muradin not supplying a lot of control, but that's an interesting combo I hadn't thought of. Not only with Tin being able to pull them into the Flame Strike, but maybe also being able to group them up for the Living Bomb.
Yeah, Tin is kind of capturing my heart right now. I'm very impressed so far. I actually love this hero. Of course, you don't always see it that much. But of course, the plays it can make can be very exciting.
It's kind of a specialty hero. You know, I think for most people, there is a group of heroes that this category falls into where you either play it really, really well, or you basically just can't play it at all.
Yeah.
And Alarak definitely fits that mold. Tin showing us he's definitely in that first group here for Alarak.
Yeah, I find him to be a very difficult hero to play, and then even if you can play him, like, there's a question of, like, is he appropriate every time, which may not be the case.
Sure. And teams with a lot of lockdown and a lot of front-to-back damage, he'll definitely struggle into that, but right now, he's faring pretty well against what they have. Meanwhile, Cavalry coming out here in favor of Essence Gaming, and they're going to look to try to see if they can get these front walls down and try to even this game out a little bit on level while they're at it.
Yeah, doesn't look like they were able to get a full front wall down in any lane. Unless Tricor can actually finish off the tower. No, he'll back out. He does only have about 30% of his hit points.
Again, macro play coming into play for Better Than Bots. They have Lunara up top, where Essence Gaming not covering all the lanes at the moment. Again, the three members in mid kind of waffling about where they're going to go here. And just not quite making that fast, speedy rotation that we see constantly coming in from Better Than Bots.
Yeah, I mean, yet again, it was Essence Gaming who won the objective, but there's actually just a bit more structure damage, at least in the top lane, for Essence Gaming. Sorry, for Better Than Bots. And now they're breaking down the middle as well. They didn't even have the objective.
Yeah, they're just able to clear these lanes out quick enough that they can just push in with it and get some structure damage on top. So even though I would say the wave clear might even be a little bit better for Essence Gaming, they're just not rotating as quickly. It's a macro issue.
All right, then. So level 13 going to be in for both teams very soon. Deckard is getting close to finishing his stacking. And oh man, this Li Ming build as well. I think the idea behind the Li Ming build is to put a lot of pressure on the Deathwing as well. Between the Disintegrate, the Glass Cannon, trying to stay real safe.
Yeah, especially with Alarak on the other side, that can be kind of difficult to have to blink into. So I don't really mind the orb build here at all. It's not an ideal build in a comp where you don't really have a good finisher. You know, Lunara has already given that poke damage, so now you just kind of have two poke heroes. But this also isn't a big control point map. You know, you can afford to just back up and focus on poking out during these objectives. So on this map, I think it's acceptable.
I like that too, considering like I'm someone who is very, very unwilling to approve of non-Calamity Li Mings, but you know, in the case that I'm seeing right here, obviously they want to be able to put a lot of pressure on Deathwing. Alarak is also someone who it's like, do you really want to go in on that? So yeah, I'll give it a free pass this time.
Also, as a Li Ming main, I will say I have more fun playing orb build Li Ming than any other type of hero in the game, so I'm a little biased.
All right, we'll see the Cataclysm go in, but Evil Alto will also get the Leaping Strike. Oh my god, look at that Molten Breath, but who are the kills going to come out on first? Kills straight out on both sides, but it's 2-1 in favor of Better Than Bots.
Yeah, and when you got Li Ming, resets are going to be a factor here once kills start being secured. You see already those orbs starting to be thrown in and starting to chunk out. There's another one, another orb coming in. They're going to have to back up here for Essence Gaming. It's now Better Than Bots. Should be able to secure the camp and start charging here to see if they can get themselves some of these raiders out.
I feel like Ailish needs to be super careful just casually walking through the objective area like that. Like if a Blessed Shield goes onto her and just Megan like just presses her abilities, it could be like a dead Lily quite easily.
Meanwhile, level 16 going to be coming in here soon for Better Than Bots, so there's a small window here where Essence Gaming can safely contest this. We will see Deathwing coming down, big root coming in, not going to affect Deathwing though, But they will be able to block the camp for now, and now they're going to have this opportunity to take the fight, but they need to press forward and need to force it soon here.
Unfortunately, it looks like Ailish... Okay, Ailish won't go down because Murden can jump away. Or rather, that was Apocalypse. Ailish is actually out of there. I think went to tap the well. But that means that it will pretty soon be 16 Palantir in favor of Better Than Bots. But oh no! What happened? Grizzly Pear got pulled in, but will not go down. That's a big combustion from Crafty Trent.
Meanwhile, from the bot, Evilito just spreading out the pain, poison to everybody. And that is going to be the triple kill, make it a quad kill, as 4 members go down, and it's just Deathwing left to tell the tale of Essence Gaming here for this mid objective.
Oh, I think even Tricor needs to be super careful here. He's getting chased down.
Yeah, I may have spoken too soon, but he will be able to make it out to that bottom keep area. But either way, this is going to be Raiders coming out now for Better Than Bots, and they have all of these lanes pushed pretty well out. Not to mention 4 members still just now starting to res. So this has really paved the way for Better Than Bots to be able to get a huge advantage here.
So it looks like, I don't know, at the moment the rotations are pretty split. I was wondering if they were going to maybe focus on one lane, like maybe 4 in one lane. But it seems like, at least right now, they're just kind of splitting up to all 3 lanes. I'm guessing they're going for a triple fort play. Middle fort looks like the one that would be least likely to happen, but I think it's still going to happen. Yeah, Crafty trying to throw in some of those crossfire flame strikes or flame streams.
Yeah, between Alarak and Kael'thas, good anti-siege for Essence Gaming. I really like the call from Better Than Bots. Again, playing that macro so efficiently. They spread out, they soak all the lanes. Now they're heading in towards level 18, where Essence Gaming is still not quite to that 16 yet. They're thinking beyond this objective. They're thinking that what happens next, the race to 20 is next. And they're already on their way there. They're already halfway there.
All right, looks like they will be content to let the rest of the cavalrymen be cleared down, except for the fact that they're going to push down in the middle lane, even after the objective is gone. This
they know that Essence Gaming's got to go to the top lane to clear, so they know that mid lane is open to push, and it is the priority lane here because of that camp. So again, great decision.
And this build with Li Ming also does give them a lot of siege damage as well. Just the combination, if you throw out your magic missiles, the orb, as well as the disintegrate, I mean, that's going to do a lot of damage to a structure. And now they're going to take a boss. Essence Gaming doesn't seem to... They definitely don't quite have... They haven't scouted it out. They're not aware of it yet. Now they seem to have some idea, but I don't think they'll make it in time.
They could be rotating to check it, but they're going to be too late here. That's the advantage you get from having that vision. And look out! The combo coming in from Megan. That's going to be the Lily down. You had mentioned it earlier. Maybe just a little bit too far out, and it's just so easy for her to get caught up in that combo.
Lily, did not even exist there. She was dead so quick. Wow, and I mean, they get...
Deleted.
It's going to be... certainly, front wall should be easy, and I think there's a reasonable expectation, if Johanna doesn't die, that they might even be able to take out the whole keep.
Yeah, you mentioned
Megan!
Damage. Oh, wait a minute. Deathwing saying, hey, wait a minute. I'm not a fan of this orb build stuff from deep downtown.
Oh, no.
Glass cannon becoming a bit of a problem there.
Glass cannon, and indeed it is again the 13-16 Molten Breath talents for Deathwing. Really can't underestimate the damage that comes out of that Molten Breath once you start getting that additional damage over time on someone.
Meanwhile, you look again, the comparison of the boss did push down in bot lane, did get some good damage on that keep, but meanwhile, the camp in mid was captured for Essence Gaming, and they were able to get the mid fort out of that just from its solo pushing without any help.
And, I mean, the unfortunate thing is, I think if Li Ming had not gone down, I think that would be a dead keep. And keeping that up just makes things quite a bit easier, because if you have to deal with catapult pressure when you have no structures in your lane against a lane that has both a fort and a keep, that can get real rough real fast.
Yeah, it looks like Lunara's running their way down to finish off that keep in the bot lane, though. Going to definitely be able to push it in, and with that poison damage, should be able to just pop the 3 stacks, and that's good enough.
Yeah, honestly, I think even just after he cleared the wave itself would have finished it off, but he's just kind of just trying to make sure. Although,
sure.
At some point,
I mean, they have vision on all 5 up top. Lunaris split. They know they're safe. They can just continue to poke and soak down here. Now level 20s in for better than bots.
Yeah, I guess that's just some of the macro play that we see out of better than bots, that they know when they see someone on the map and when someone else can get value somewhere else. Crafty Trent goes in. I don't know if Tin makes it out alive in this one, and indeed he doesn't.
I had to burn the counter strike to block the leaping strike damage, but then after that, more damage still coming in from the other side. Megan going to charge on in, Trigger charging in on the other side. Now dealing a lot of damage, and it's going to be actually Crafty going down there on the Blaze, but it is a 2-for-1 exchange.
Take a look at what's happening in the middle, though.
Level 20. Yeah, just more macro.
This is just better than bots. I mean, it's again like we've got a fight going on in top, and then someone else from better than bots is killing your buildings.
Yeah, and as long as they can trade evenly or even just, not die in that 4v5 or in this case 3v3 while they've got split, they can get value in the other lanes as Lunaris just split soaking.
Meanwhile, they're going to be picking up the objective as well, although I think Evil Alto this time will not get away. Or will he? It's actually getting really close.
Okay, no. There it is. Stalled it for a little bit, though, giving their team time to secure the objective up here.
I think
or
this
secure more of it.
I think this is the hardest that I've ever seen an amateur team get beat out on macro.
Yeah.
Like, of course, in some games there are macro advantages here and there, but I would say a lot of games are more team fight oriented, whereas this is really just like better than bots, really just schooling them on macro front to back.
Yeah, it's just 5 players that are on the same page. Not necessarily meaning that they're all doing the same thing at the same time, but they're all playing to the same strategy in terms of side soaking being a priority, lane maintenance being a priority, and just kind of keeping the objectives alive. And in this case, they managed to get it, but now they're going to be able to push down. They should be able to secure the top keep out of all of this. Meanwhile, we do see Triker coming to the backside, trying to find something to engage on the backside, but again, some of the members of Essence Gaming are back clearing, so nothing they can really do with that Deathwing fly-in.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, they've just got a lot to defend against. Their core is actually already down to half. I think better than bots can just move in and just right-click the core.
Yeah, this should be the end. We see a lot of damage coming in right off the bat, and that is going to be it. Game number 2, and the clean sweep by better than bots, securing themselves even more points to head in towards the top. Should be looking out for that 1-2 matchup. I actually am not sure if we've seen amateur gaming versus better than bots yet.
Amateur opponents?
Yes.
They did actually play, and amateur opponents, their one loss is to better than bots.
Aha.
So,
2-0 or 2-1? Now I gotta look.
That, I mean, I don't remember, but I could also pick that up. I could probably check that real soon. It was...
already heading to it.
It was
it's a
2-1.
race.
2-1.
Yeah.
Luckily, I already actually had the tab open, so...
Well, there you go.
So, yep. So, it was very promising for Essence Gaming in that game 1 with all those kills they got and just their team fighting abilities. But, I mean, I guess better than bots kind of just buckling down or buckling in or whatever the expression is, and just in the end finishing off that series. That second game, not quite as close as the first. And in the end, it will be better than bots retaining their undefeated win streak. 6-0 at the moment, I believe.
Yeah, and that's just a big statement overall. When you can continually win in this division, it just kind of puts everyone else on notice, especially the way they win. It doesn't. It looks a lot easier than it really is. The macro oriented play like what they're doing, but really it takes a lot of coordination. And quite frankly, a coordination level that not a whole lot of teams at this level of the game have.
Yeah, that's why I feel like it was so rare for me to see, again, for an amateur team to really just school another amateur team mostly on the macro. Like, it wasn't just like hard winning the team fights, it was just how much they were just so far ahead in the macro. How many times it just seems like they were just mysteriously destroying the other team's buildings to the point where it was like they lost, or rather, well, better than bots, they kind of won on a war of attrition practically.
Yeah, pretty consistent healing numbers as well from five aces. Deckard, the Deckard performance here in game two, particularly, maybe not too tough to out heal a Lily. He's not going to put out like super good healing numbers throughout a match, but definitely providing the sustain they needed in these team fights. A lot of clutch heals.
I was glad to see them pick up that Deckard again. And you know what? We do actually have Crafty Trent saying that he will be willing to do an interview. He is right now in Coin Toss / Map Pick 5, so we can either join him there, or can you pull him in here?
I certainly can.
Here he is. Hey, Crafty Trent. How are you guys feeling after your victory?
Oh, we're feeling great. I think that we all played really well, and we've kept our undefeated streak, and hopefully we can schedule some flex matches and get that first place, because amateur opponents, they played all their flex matches. We just can't catch up.
And I want to
ask, bird gets the worm, I guess.
I want to ask you if you can tell us a little bit about your style of play as a team, because watching it was kind of crazy, where especially in the first game where you were actually losing most of the team fights, but it just felt like slowly but surely you were wearing down their buildings and eventually kind of won off that. What can you tell us about your style of play and your macro in that regard?
So that first game, we had Raynor Exterminator, and we also had Zul'jin. So we knew we were a stacking team, and we needed to get Zul'jin stacked, so we're rotating between the lanes, while Raynor was able to get some siege done. Eventually, even though they got the protectors, we had more siege than them, and then I was stacked. So we were ready for the team fights at that point, and we won the last team and ended.
All right, very, very good. Jason, do you have a question you'd like to ask?
Well, it's more of just a generalized question. You guys have talked about being undefeated. In your future games, as you have all those flex matches still ready to schedule out, anybody in particular you're looking forward to playing? We know you guys already have amateur opponents in the rear view in terms of who you need to schedule. Anybody else you're looking out for, and kind of what are you guys looking to do goal-wise in terms of this season?
Yeah, I think some of our toughest opponents coming up are going to be CCS, Can't Counterpick Stupid, and also Resurgence of the Storm. So we're actually going to have, I think, I don't want to get it wrong. I don't know who we're playing next week off the top of my head, but I have it scheduled. Actually, we might have a bye. Yeah, we do. We have a bye. Okay. But those are the two teams that I'm probably
scheduled 2 flex matches right there.
Yeah, I was trying. I tried to get one. They said they couldn't do it. I'll be looking though.
I would like you to tell me. Sorry, actually, if you want to do any follow up to that, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are looking pretty good right now. Again, you guys have already beaten amateur opponents and are still undefeated, and especially considering that, game of the week this week in C West, amateur opponents able to defeat Resurgence of the Storm. So you guys are looking pretty strong in terms of what you might call a power rank in this division.
Yeah. We did really well last season in this division, and it was such a competitive division, but we ended up losing in semifinals. And so we wanted to come back this year and be completely ready. So we played our Heroes Lounge season, which is actually going really well, even though we're the 8th seed. We're in the Legendary Cup finals.
Oh, you're in the Legendary Cup, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that we've gotten a lot better, and I'm glad that it's paying off. And I'm really happy with how much the team has committed to getting better.
Very nice.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I was actually, this is a very specific question, but I wanted. I
Okay.
noticed that you are a Blaze player. Blaze is one of your
Yeah.
or your, like your most played hero this season. It seems like you play it actually in
Yeah.
both roles as main tank and solo lane. And I find this interesting because I think Blaze is a hero who has kind of fallen off over time. I think he suffered a little bit
Yeah.
with the XP globe changes as well as just like buffs to other solo laners. Tell us a little bit about like why you continue to play Blaze and just how you make use of that hero.
So Blaze is my main. I almost have him level 100,
Oh
and
wow.
nobody plays Blaze. Like on Heroes Profile, there are 26 people I think that qualify for the leaderboard, and that puts me in second because just no one plays him. So I've played so much of him that with the changes, it hasn't really affected me that much. I play him as a tank. I can bruise. I obviously did a lot of damage. I ended up barely passing Alarak at the end because of that combustion. I think that Bunker's really good, and a lot of people try to get out of that, and it definitely has a place. But I think as long as you can land the combustion, like make sure that it's kind of like an ETC mosh. You just got to watch out for those stuns. But if you land it, it's really powerful. He's got a stun that's just as long as ETC. It's kind of more interesting to hit. He has a slow. I think he just has everything that you would ever want in a kit, really. Range damage. He's got that physical damage. That's pretty good.
Very nice. One of my favorite heroes. Glad to see you still repping him as I feel like definitely you say people don't play him, but I feel like at least like a year ago and especially like 2 years ago, back then I felt he was all over the place, but just over time it seems like he's kind of fallen
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, he has like a 6% pick rate, so pretty low.
All right then. And I mean, were there any times, as you were playing against Essence Gaming tonight where you were like maybe a little worried?
Yeah, I mean, we were hoping that we could get a stronger start on Volskaya. Like, we obviously wanted to win those first two objectives, but we had to end up giving. I think when they got that one objective and then just pushed it down mid, but didn't go quite all the way to the fourth, and I was just stacking off it as Zul'jin, I think they should have been a little more aggressive because I think they had the advantage, but yeah, I was a little worried there until we got it cleared, and then we ended up coming back. So I think I was also super worried at that objective bottom for Alterac when our Ming was going back to get mana, and Johanna went in, but then I ended up getting a combustion, and we killed 4 of them. So it turned around. That's when the game really went our direction after that.
All right, very, very nice, very nice. I think I'm just gonna first turn it to Jason, see if he has any last questions, and then after that, probably just turn it to you, Crafty Trent, for any last shout-outs or any comments you want to make before we wrap up this interview.
Okay.
I don't really have another question, but Crafty, you could settle a little debate for us. Is it Megan or Magon?
It's Megan. Some people say Megan, but
Me, yeah.
All right.
Well, the thing is, I think I've actually met girls who their name was spelt like hers, and they said it's not Megan, it's Megan.
I've
yeah.
seen about four
Megan.
different spellings for that name. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But you can give her my regards for that orb build. I wish my team would let me do that a little more often myself.
Yeah.
It's tough. You're definitely
Very well played.
You're definitely gonna have people on your team and be like, "Ugh, Orb, come on, go Calamity." And to be honest, I'd probably be one of those people.
I have someone that swears by Calamity on our team, but we end up putting Megan on me, and she pulls out a great orb build, so we're happy with it.
All right, thanks.
So for
shout-outs, comments, floor is to you, Crafty.
Yeah,
Trent.
I'd like to shout out the other team. They played really well tonight, and I'd obviously like to shout out my team. It was Alto, Grizzly, Megan, and then we had our sub 5 aces tonight.
He did great.
So yeah, he pulled out a great decker. And then I'd also like to shout out you, of course. Thanks for casting. And I think that is about it.
All right,
It was
then.
a good set of games.
Sounds good. Sounds good. In that case, thank you, obviously, for joining us. Congratulations on your victory, and good evening.
Thanks.